Hey, Eagles, Chiefs, two best teams in the NFL, the game of the week in the league. We're going to break it all down. Steve Spagnuolo, the Chiefs defensive coordinator, one of his former players. He's going to show us what Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense will face. And for the Eagles, will we see a different element from them that we haven't seen in recent weeks against that Chiefs defense? It all starts now on Eagles Game Plan.
Hey, give nothing, take everything. 1, 2, 3, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. We're back from the bye just like the Eagles. Mike Quick and Ike Reese, they've done some self-scouting on the bye week. And hey, this is a Super Bowl rematch. Eagles and Chiefs were the best teams in football last year. Right now, the Eagles have the best record in the NFL. Chiefs have the best record in the AFC. So is it a lot more than just a big Super Bowl rematch?
Listen, I know for the fans, that's exactly what it is. But for the players, there's nothing that they can do in this game to overturn what happened back in February out in Arizona. So they have to focus on winning this game. Here's what I'll tell you that I love about it. These are the two best teams in football once again. Yeah. Two best teams in football, arguably two best organizations, two best quarterbacks in the league. You got a future Hall of Fame head coach. On the other side, you got one of the brighter young head coaches in the league right now who does nothing but win. So when I look at this matchup, I'm saying it's two winning organizations that know how to be consistent. They know how to put the best team out there on the field. And I can't wait to watch this matchup because I think this is the bar that's set for everyone else in the league. These two teams right here.
What he said. I'm dead serious. He's talking about the two best teams in football, two of the best organizations in all of football. You look at both these young quarterbacks. Man, we're in for a great football game. Yeah. I love what both these teams have done. I love the way that they both are built. If you look at the offensive lines, and, you know, Andy Reid, he builds from the inside out. And look at this organization. It starts with an outstanding offensive line, defensive line, and then you put those pieces around it. I think that these are the two best teams in football, and I think we're in for a well of a ball game.
And the Eagles are hoping to finally beat Andy Reid. He is 4-0 against the Eagles since he left. But something's got to give because Jalen Hurts, he's won 12 straight games against winning teams as a starter. That is the longest streak in football. So with more on his quarterback, here is the QB coach, Alex Tanney, with our own Fran Duffy. This is Tape Study, presented by Chickies and Pete's.
Well, joining us this week here for Tape Study, presented by Chickies and Pete's, the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles quarterbacks coach Alex Tanney. Coach, I want to dive into the performance from Jalen Hurts over the first half of the season. Obviously, a lot to love from a guy who's putting together another MVP quality type season so far. And we'll start with a play from the last game against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, so this is 3rd and 9 here. You can see if you let it roll. We go with a little bit of a quick count there by Kelsey. These guys are a huge single high team, but you can see him trying to bail here and play cover 2. So a really good job by Jalen here. We're running a crossing concept where Dallas is on a shallow and Smitty's on a Dover, so we're trying to high-low this hook player right here. So just a really good job by him, seeing this guy kind of flat foot and jump Dallas, and you can see the window right behind him. And he does a really good job kind of layering this ball over him into that window.
You can talk about the throw and catch. He hits Devontae for a first down. This happens on 3rd down, Coach, and the Eagles have been the best 3rd down team in football through the first 10 weeks. What goes into being a really good 3rd down offense?
Yeah, I just think, we have so many weapons with AJ and Smitty and Dallas, backs from the backfield. We got 5 guys up front that can protect, and then, Jalen has the ability to run and the ability to scramble to throw. So all those weapons make it pretty tough to defend on 3rd down.
Another good example down here in the red zone, the low red zone on the 6-yard line. This is a touchdown to Dallas Goedert. What is it that makes this play work for Jalen?
Yeah, so this is a nod concept. So when he sees, pre-snap single high, he pretty much knows he's going to be working this side over here to Dallas. So he's doing everything he can to try and keep this guy over there or keep him in the middle of the field. And then it's very similar to earlier where we're kind of trying to high-low. Now we're trying to high-low this backer here. So you can let it play here. Does a really good job of keeping his eyes over there. And then you can see really good ball location here too, kind of putting it on Dallas's back hip, back shoulder. Just because down there oftentimes it's bang plays between the safety and the tight end out here in this case.
Where has he improved most over the course of just even this past year? Obviously, we saw what he did last year on the way to the Super Bowl. Where do you think he's made the biggest strides even just over the last 12 months?
Yeah, I think just being confident in what he's seeing and then, letting that determine where he's going with the ball. And you can see the strides he's made over the last few seasons, and just being really detailed kind of throughout his preparation. It's paying off for him on Sundays.
And certainly when you get to third down, another aspect that defenses have to take into account, right, in defending Jalen is what he can do with his legs. And here he runs for 5 yards on 3rd and 4. Talk about what goes into this scramble and why it's an effective play.
Yeah, so here, the coverage is kind of dictating him to work an option route to Smitty here at the number 3 spot. And then you can see Smitty gets kind of collision there around 5 yards. So like I was saying earlier, what makes him such a dynamic player is on third down, his ability to extend to throw and extend to run. So does a really good job of, buying time in the pocket. We talk about keeping 2 hands on the ball all the time, so it gets 2 hands on it there with guys around him in the pocket. And then, just makes a really big play to extend a third down drive there for us.
Hey, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota, and the Birds are going to be going against that Chiefs defense led by Steve Spagnuolo, and somebody happened to have played for Steve Spagnuolo. This guy right here, not you.
Yeah.
This guy. What should Jalen Hurts expect from a Spags defense?
Well, not only Jalen Hurts, but this offensive line. You're talking about Spags is a guy who likes to dictate what you guys are going to do offensively, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to get the sim pressures, you're going to get sub packages, multiple personnel in there. And the key for this offensive line will be recognizing where the rushers may be coming versus where they're not coming. So he's going to give you a lot to think about, very similar to what we saw early in the season when we faced New England, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, sort of those type of defensive coordinators. Spags is from that school of thought as well. So he wants to give the quarterback a lot to think about pre-snap.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts has said basically it's disguises every single week in the NFL. So let's go to NFL Films. In his office, Greg Cosell joining us. Greg, when I've seen the Chiefs of years past, I think of the offense. But man, this defense, they're giving up less than 16 points a game, second most sacks. Is it led by their defense now?
You could definitely say that, John. The defense has probably been carrying them the last month or so. And I love what Ike said. What you get from Spags is you get a lot of different looks. They're very multiple up front with a lot of players that can line up in different positions. He's not a high percentage blitzer, but he's very, very good at it. All you have to do is go back to their last game when they played the Dolphins. And the first third down of the game, and this is the play we're going to look at. It was the first third down of the game. It was 3rd and 10. And they're in dime personnel. That's 6 defensive backs. And that's a third down staple for them. So they show a split safety alignment behind a 4-man defensive line front. Now, there's no pre-snap indicator of blitz here, but the pressure would come from the boundary. It would come from the corner, Jalen Watson. He's in press versus a reduced split wide receiver. And then you have linebacker Drew Tranquill. They'd be the 2 blitzers, okay? It'd be a 5-man pressure scheme. But so much of this starts with Chris Jones, because what offenses do is they slide their protection to Jones. So that's what happened here. The Dolphins slid the offensive center to Jones as the most dangerous one-on-one pass rusher. So on the other side of the slide, you get one-on-one protection. So you get the left guard and left tackle man blocking versus Charles Omenihu and Michael Dana. And then that also dictates that the running back would have to be responsible for Tranquill as he blitzes through the boundary A gap. And then there's one other element to this, which is really good. Omenihu and Dana would run a TE stun, and you get the left tackle chasing inside. So now that softens the corner for Jalen Watson on his blitz, and he gets in clean. This was so beautifully executed. This is what Spags does. And it's really hard. It's not high percentage. He's not going to blitz 50% of the dropbacks, but when he does, it's really cool stuff.
Jay, when you see that the slot's going to come, the slot defender is going to come, or Kalafdis, he's a guy that's not used to dropping in coverage. You're going to drop that guy in coverage. There's possibly a chance to get the ball to him early. So my question is, do you attack these voids or these areas where guys are not used to defending? Or do you kind of just sit back and try and play the defense?
Yeah, that's a tough question, Q, because then you have to recognize that quick. Because on the particular play we looked at, it was a free hitter. Watson was unblocked, so he gets there in a heartbeat. Obviously, if you can pick someone up or at least just maybe get a hand on him, then you have just that fraction of a second longer for Jalen Hurts in the pocket to be able to see that, and then for the Eagles to be able to work through that. But that's the key. The key is that you have to at least get a hand on those blitzers so that Jalen Hurts has that extra fraction in the pocket. Because the last thing you want, and it doesn't happen that often in the NFL, as you know, Q, but when those free hitters come, boy, that speeds you up really fast.
All right, Greg, we're going to talk to you later on about the Chiefs' offense against the Birds' defense. Now, the Chiefs' defense, they're only giving up 176 passing yards a game. Eagles' running game, it was great to begin with.
Yeah.
Haven't seen it as much lately. Could we see the running game big time in this game?
I'm expecting to see a lot more of the run game, and I think this is a team that you can run the football against. You know, they play with a lot of sub packages, and that's just the way the National Football League is now. And when you're in those subgroups, you've got lighter bodies on the field. Now, I know Chris Jones can wreck the game. You've got to block him up. And guys up front, you have to block. But I think the Eagles' offensive line can take advantage of that defense in the run game in particular.
Yeah, I think the extra week off, getting bodies back, getting players healthy, allowing Coach Stoutland to do his self-evaluations and see what they need to do better the second half of the season. And Q is right. When you're looking at defenses that like to use these sub packages, put these lighter bodies out there, 6 and 7 DBs, because they want to be faster and more athletic. This is where an offense needs to take advantage and go north and south and run right at these guys. And you get big Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, and those boys going north and south, moving these bodies off the line. I think we can get something very similar to what we saw early in the season. I mentioned those teams, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, teams like that use these sub packages as well. That's where the Eagles also ran the ball their most effectively early in the season. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot more of that this game.
Hey, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota, and the Eagles defense has got to be ready for this Chiefs offense. Obviously, the last two games, Eagles defense have given up close to 800 passing yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So what do they have to watch out for specifically with the Chiefs offense?
Well, hopefully they found a remedy in the bye week. You know, spent some time looking at the things that they did in the early part of the season and corrected some things. I think having a healthy Bradley Roby and a healthy secondary now. Roby's been around about a month and a week. So he should know that the defense is a whole lot better now. John Desai should be better at putting these guys in position to take away offenses and what they want to do on the back end. That's going to be so crucial going forward because, think about it, it's now Kelsey. And now you got to deal with Travis Kelsey and all the things that they like to do with Travis Kelsey.
And you mentioned Travis Kelsey. Let's go back to Greg Cosell. And the Eagles defense, they've given up 5 touchdowns this year to tight ends. That's the third most in the NFL. How big is this matchup? Best tight end they're going to face, right?
Best tight end in football, absolutely, John. And I think when you look at the Chiefs, one thing that people might not be aware of is how much they play out of multiple tight end sets. And I love what Q said about Roby, but he may not be on the field when they're in 12 or 13 personnel, 2 and 3 tight ends. Now, Kelsey runs a lot of crossers and overs from that look. And let's go to a play that really reflects that extremely well. This is from a number of weeks ago. You're going to see the Chiefs in 13 personnel. This is a drive starter, 3 tight ends in a tight bunch to the field. There's only 1 wide receiver on the field. He's in a reduced split to the boundary. So now Watson's going to release inside. He's going to take the corner with him, and he's going to threaten the safety on that side. But now let's focus on the bunch, because that's where you really want to look here. Blake Bell from the inside would chip, then release into the flat. That expanded the flat defender. That was important because Noah Gray, the point man in the bunch, would release vertically. That both grabbed the eyes of the field safety, and it also put the middle hook defender in position where he had to be aware of Gray's route. Now you get Kelsey, the outside receiver in the bunch. He's going to run the deep over, and his stem was critical. He stayed vertical. So the linebacker passed him on to the deep coverage, and the boundary safety clearly had eyes on him while gaining depth due to the wide receiver Watson. But the body position of the boundary safety made it really tough for him to deal with the deep over. He was playing Kelsey's vertical stem, and he could not react to the deep over. Kelsey makes the catch, room to run after the catch. This is what the Chiefs do exceedingly well with Kelsey. These crossers, these deep overs, they're really, really hard to defend.
Yeah, the other guy over there throwing him the ball is pretty good too, G.
Yeah.
And when people want to know, well, how do you get to Mahomes? How do you slow down this offense? How can we attack Patrick Mahomes? My thing is always, you got to get to him with a four-man rush. There's, you know, blitzing Patrick Mahomes is something he's going to welcome because I think it makes it easier to define where he wants to go with the football. So what do you think about how do you attack Patrick Mahomes? Are you aggressive with it, or do you try to stay back and sort of just play not so much of a conservative defense, but a less risk defense?
Yeah, it's a great point, Ike, because he's been really good, Mahomes, that is, against blitz throughout his career for a number of reasons. Number one, he sees it quick. And number two, he'll move. And then what happens is you lose a player in pressure, and now you lose a player in coverage. So he's really good both ways, where he sees it and gets it out. And don't forget, they may not have big-time wideouts in terms of, you know, the way we think about wideouts in the league, but they do have speed at wide receiver. And the thing is, you have to be real careful if you blitz and choose to play man behind it. Valdez-Scantling can run. Hardman can run. And the last thing you want, particularly against the Eagles corners, who have not been great all year, I think we all know that, is for those guys to get over the top of you. That's the last thing you want to have happen in this game. As you just suggested, Ike, you want to make them have to take a lot of snaps to work the ball. And by the way, their offense has not been great the last 4 or 5 weeks.
And when we go back to the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes threw for under 200 yards against the Eagles. Isaiah Pacheco, Patrick Mahomes, Jerick McKinnon, 158 rushing yards against this Eagles defense. Do you think it'll be tougher for them to run against the Birds defense with who they have?
You had to remind us.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Flashback, sorry.
It will be a lot tougher, brother. It will be a lot tougher. The Eagles boast the number one rushing defense in the league. They got those two young bucks in the inside and Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
Jordan Davis is playing great. A rejuvenated Fletcher Cox with Milton Williams also helping with the depth there. I feel comfortable with that. And our linebackers are starting to play a lot better, you know, with Cunningham and Moore out there. But here's the key. It's winning at the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's what it is. Kansas City will run the ball. Isaiah Pacheco is a tough, hard-nosed runner, especially when he gets those legs going. But I like the way we play up front. And we play a mean, nasty type of football with our defensive lines. A lot different than what we had last year. No disrespect to those guys. But this is a totally different mindset up front with the personnel that's up front this year. They take it personal when you try to run the football on them.
Welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. And I'm looking at Taylor Swift's concert schedule. I don't think she's going to be able to be there.
Oh, you're talking about Taylor Swift?
Yes, we have to.
We're talking football.
It equals ratings. Anyway, she's got shows in Brazil. I don't think she'll be there for Travis Kelce, but a Swift will have a big impact on the game. That is my call, my shot. Now I go for Ike Reese, Mike Quick.
He's a Swiftie. You know he's a Swiftie.
Why not?
Whatever that means. Go ahead.
So here's my thing. All right.
Swiftie.
Kevin Byard, been here a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Bradley Roby, we saw him for a week or two before he got injured. Here's what I'm predicting. One of the two will get their first interception as an Eagle.
I love it.
This game.
I love
Bradley
it.
Roby or Kevin Byard will have an interception this game.
You know Mahomes is going to give shots.
Yep.
And there are going to be some opportunities, and I like that one.
Yeah.
I'm going with, so no Dallas Goedert. So Julio Jones, that guy will step up in this game. And I think Julio Jones will have a big game. Not like a Dallas Goedert game, but this is going to be the biggest game for Julio Jones as an Eagle.
I like
it. So all the new guys. All the new guys.
Some good ones here. Hopefully you agree with one of these guys out there. Eagles are trying to beat the Chiefs for the first time in 14 years. It is the game of the week again. Eagles Cowboys was, Eagles Chiefs is as well. I'm John Clark for Mike Quick and Ike Reese. Thanks for watching Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by Pepsi, zero sugar, zero never tasted so good. That's what I like. Toyota, your local tri-state Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy.